All right, we are going to check out my rankings and ratings for the previous season, Big Japan. So we sat down and we talked about Big Japan before it came out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see how smart I was and how on top of things I was when rating Big Japan and what I got completely wrong. I'm excited to see. We're about 20 minutes away in real time from the new season. That's me. Very, very exciting. We're going to quickly talk about all the cards right before they come out. Give them a rating of 1 out of 5. Let me see. Does this work? It kind of works. In just about any deck and also has some really strong decks. In just about any deck and also has some really strong decks. So yeah, remember, 5 out of 5 is going to be meta defining. 4 out of 5 is going to be quite powerful. 3 out of 5 needs support. 2 out of 5 meta dependent. 1 out of 5 bad/useless. Around it. 8 tier card. 3 Bynx. 3 out of 5 is like a B tier card. It needs a lot of support in just about any deck and also has some really strong decks around it. 8 tier card. 3 out of 5 is like a B tier card. It needs a lot of support, but it could be in a really strong deck, and it could be a good glue card to a strong deck, but it's only good because of these support cards. 2 out of 5 is meta dependent, a card that can be good in certain metas, but some metas it really sucks and you basically never want to use it. 1 out of 5 is bad or useless. Basically, you never want to run into a deck, otherwise you're a silly boy. Otherwise you're a silly boy if you run into a deck. Odin, all these different ways to add multiple girl. See what you said about Daken. I think I felt had a good take. There's a lot of cool things that this card can do. You can get multiple shards, so you can double his power a bunch of times. You know, you could use Moon Girl, Wong, Odin, all these different ways to add multiple shards to your hand. So true. Always something that's possible. In a destroy or power by doubling Daken's. Daken is just super solid. I think that he's going to be seen and tested out in a lot of discard cards. I think he has some really cool things with Collector that is very interesting. Collector, I don't feel like no one really does anything with him in Collector, but I feel like Collector could be. You said 5 out of 5. You also gave X23 a 5 out of 5, I think. So like I think that the idea of using him with Collector and like a Collector deck that can then like discard a bunch of cards for Morbius is something I want to try with him. That'll be really, really interesting. The fact that he's flexible and can go in discard packages and destroy packages, I think is like super interesting. What is a card that's just really solid, but it's very dependent on all these other support cards, and by itself it just can't work. So you wouldn't see Daken in say a good card style deck that's just throwing the best cards in there because it needs to fit into one of these archetypes. So just one of the best 3 out of 5 cards. If you're looking to buy the season pass, I think that it's definitely worth it. So yeah, I said one of the better, like a high-end 3 out of 5 card, and I think that's right on the dot. I mean, it's found use in discard decks, it's found use in Hella decks, it's found use in just Modok discard decks, and it sees play in a lot of different destroy cards. You love him with Collector? Yeah, I think Collector's kind of something that people kind of miss out on. But I think I was right on the dot. Top tier 3 out of 5 card. Just a card that needs other cards to be good, but just very, very solid overall. For Daken, just a really fun, cool card. Things that double are really, really cool. Marvel Snap. I need to play some more Daken, man. I kind of pulled away from playing Daken, but he's a really cool card. Also, I will eventually make a deck where I'm just trying to double Daken's power as much as possible, even if it's like thousands of power. So I think that any card like that, I mean, I don't know. It's very... In Grieger, thank you for the 2 months. Welcome in. Welcome. Very exciting for me. Lady, Deathstrike, 5 energy, 5/3 cringe, 3 power. On reveal, destroy each card here with less power than this. So a 5 for 3. You're looking it's very similar to Valkyrie, right? I think Valkyrie is. I hope I gave it a 1 out of 10. Super easy comparison for this, where it's like a card that's a 5/3 that you're basically hoping you can win a lane with it. Being able to destroy things that are 3 power. There's a lot of them out there. They're just kind of littered all. I think I actually talk about a lot how she'd be like pretty solid at 5/4, but I don't even think she's that good at 5/4. Power. There's a lot. The biggest issue that as a 5/3. The biggest thing is that it says cards here with less power than this. So without buffing or changing Lady Deathstrike at all, Lady Deathstrike will kill cards that are 2 power or less. That's the biggest issue. I think if she was a 5/4, she gets. Yeah, they gave Deathstrike an extra power. Yeah, she's a 5/4 now. Very powerful. Being able to destroy things that are 3 power. There's a lot of them out there. They're just kind of littered all over the thing. Things with 2 or less power, usually they're not that important for the... Think about Mr. Negative decks to players at 3-5. Just needs too much work and too much help to really flip a game. When you're paying 5 to win a game, you know? So, my opinion,
what did I say?
would probably be she's a 1 out of 5 card.
Let's go! I'm so smart and talented.
Potentially a 2 out of 5 card if we're missing something. I mean, I underrated the hell out of Valkyrie, I think, too, when she first came out. Means it's going to be the best season of the month. Going to be carried with Alioth? Yeah, I am. I mean...
Let's go! He was perfectly right. 1 out of 5. Maybe goes up to a 2 out of 5 as a 5-4. Pretty much called it.
I don't think Alioth's going to come out how it's currently data mined. I'd say it's probably 1 out of 5. Maybe 2 out of 5. You do anything to like...
Good call. Good call.
Super, super cool. It's kind of comparable to Nova, right? I think that X23 is super, super comparable to Nova in many ways, where it's something that
could be metas where she's a strong tech card.
Destroy it to get a big bonus.
As a 5-4, which she is now, she's probably closer to a 2 out of 5. Where in certain metas, she'd be pretty good. Get wrecked. We're not ignoring your 5 out of 5s. You keep throwing them out there.
Nova, if anyone was around during the beta, actually used to give +2 power. It was the most broken card in the entire game. And then they moved to energy throughout the whole. You're adding these other scary things that you can get out. So getting out a Nimrod early is
Mythical Productions. Thank you for the 3 months. Welcome in. Yeah, dope anniversary. Let's go.
really important for these destroy decks, especially now.
You also gave Samurai 5 out of 5. You did give Samurai 5 out of 5.
Nimrod's buff to a 5/6.
You're so sure it was the best card in the game.
Just being able to have additional things that your Carnage can eat up for extra power. Just having additional 2 energy for a shitty card that takes up a card spot. You get 1 extra energy the next turn, right? So you're the super low tempo play to play out a Psylocke. And that's one of the only ways to get ramp in the game. You play Electro and it has a horrible downside of keeping you to play 1 card per turn. You have a wave that can have a really bad downside of letting your opponent play out cards.
Someone said Echo will be relevant, lol.
And that also only ramps to 1 giant card, right?
Blew you in here?
So adding new ways to ramp is
Jimmy,
very
thanks for the 2-1.
scary in Marvel Snap. It's very, very scary. And having an archetype that's already starting to get to the point where it's really scary and destroy, a lot of people are starting to find that these destroy Nimrod style decks are really, really strong. Now they have this additional resource to get more energy throughout the game. I think X23 is going to be an absolute menace. I think unless the card synergies that can come with this too. You know, being able to get things. So I would call this a 5 out of 5.
Eyes on the bottom left.
I do think that if X23 comes out as this exact thing, I think it's gonna pop destroy.
I also said 5 out of 5. I think that's wrong. I think it's definitely a 3 out of 5 card. A very strong card. Probably worse than Daken. I think Daken was the best card from last month. So it came out probably like a low end 3 out of 5 card, but I said a 5 out of 5.
Decks over.
Maybe it's probably, I'll just blame it on Get Wrecked because he was just in my ear telling me how it's gonna be the best card in the game for so long.
The limit and just make them really strong. So I'm really excited for X23. I think it's gonna really change the game. Power, which is interesting. Yeah, works really easy with Daken. The problem with it is that you're paying an enormous premium. So you're paying an extra 2 energy to get 1 power and to discard a small card from your opponent's hand versus a very similar card, Colleen Wing, which goes over the lowest cost card in your hand. I know obviously there is differences there
4 out of 5 with animation.
because one's lowest power, one's lowest cost. But when you're comparing this to Colleen Wing, you're really paying 2 extra energy for a bit of disruption. It does work with Zabu, which is pretty important. 1 energy on it, deck to like guarantee a stature. Discard. So it's interesting. Being a 4/5, I think is big. Anything that's 4 cost, you have to think about how it fits into Zabu decks. And there's already a few really good discards. Is going to be meta dependent. I think I want to call it a 2 out of 5. It's close to a 3 out of 5, but I really do think that I do think just like Moon Knight just very rarely sees play, and it's in super competitive world, it's almost never seeing play. I think Silver Samurai is going to fall into that similar position where the downside and hurting you can be really, really tough. Like I said, I think it's meta dependent. I think it's on the very high end of a 2 out of 5, somewhat close to a 3 out of 5.
Boom! Dude, that's actually I'm actually very, very impressed by my ratings this season. I think Daken was right on, top end of 3 out of 5. I think Lady Deathstrike was right on, 1 out of 5. And I think that Silver Samurai, very top end of 2 out of 5. I think that those were exactly on. I did give X23 a 5 out of 5, and he's probably the 3 out of 5 or like low end 3 out of 5. So I missed that one by a lot. I missed that one by a whole bunch. But I think that overall, looking at the season, I had a pretty darn good read on it. I'm really excited for I should play some more Daken decks, man. Daken's good. Maybe we'll make a Daken play for a little bit here. But thank you for watching. If you're watching on Bynx Extra, thank you. This is my review of my review. We're gonna keep doing these because I really like them. I think that they're a lot of fun. I think that I will give my review of my review a 4 out of 5. 4.2 out of 5 on this one. And also sub to Bynx Extra. This is my different channel. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.